And welcome back to Sullivan's Unheard Voices. I'm here with Louie. Boy, oh boy. Like, I did a little bit of YouTube stalking of you
Okay.
before this interview.
Uh-huh.
Your voice is angelic,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Thank you.
Like, the range that you have is just out of this world.
Thank you.
Like, at what age did you know that you could sing? Because you can sing, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. So actually, I started singing at the age of 6.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have my father's friend. You know, rest in peace. He passed away already. He was the one actually who encouraged me to sing. Well, of course, my family knows how that I can sing, but at an early age. But he's the one who actually like, hey, do you want to join a singing contest or something? But it's too tough for me because I don't know how to like follow the beat of the guitar.
Yeah.
So he just told me to like kind of like pat my feet to make sure that I'm following the beat of the guitar, the accompaniment, and that's where it started. So and then people start noticing me. So from like our community, I was able to join like singing contests in towns and stuff like that, and then I became an undisputed champion
Yeah.
in our in our island actually
Yeah.
in the Philippines. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
What was that like? So did you fly like into the Philippines to compete, or were you
No,
already there at the time?
I was born there. I
Okay.
lived there when I just moved to the U.S. In 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're growing up in the Philippines and you're having these local town
Hmm.
contests. Like, how many people are in the contest usually?
All like 20, 15, 20 people. I mean, both all the communities have their own representative. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
one of the representative of my community. So, and then it's kind of like tough for like contestants like me that grew up in a remote community
Yeah.
compared to the people that lives in the town proper. But I'm just so happy that I was able to like to win such kind of competition because it gives me confidence. However, when I moved to the city to Manila
Yeah.
to do college, stopped singing. So basically, the focus is just to go to school and do part-time jobs that I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you went to school, you just sort of forgot about singing because you didn't think it would ever be at the point where it could actually make you money, or
Hmm.
you just
Hmm.
okay. And what did you go to school for?
I actually took computer engineering, but I wasn't able to finish it.
Uh
I
huh.
only do, I think, yeah, almost fourth year
Okay.
in college, and then I started working to support my family,
Yeah.
and then it's crazy because while I was like working in, I don't know if you're familiar with A&W Restaurant. They
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
branch in the Philippines,
Okay.
and that's my first job in the Philippines. And after that, while I was working at A&W, there's an opening, hiring in Saudi Arabia. They're opening McDonald's in Saudi Arabia. That was like 1989, 1990. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I bet it's been a while though, but I mean I'm underage, so I have to like kind of do something to make sure that I will not be underage on my passport.
Yeah.
So I was able to go to Saudi Arabia at the age of 18. Total culture shock, but it's a good thing. I learned a lot from that situation to be able to be disciplined. So you know how Saudi Arabia before compared to now is so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Because the rules back then were very strict,
strict. Yeah,
right, as
you
to
have
what
to.
you could do and
Mm-hmm.
openly in public and all of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Now it's different. Now everyone is like, even the women are like, they can drive now.
Yeah.
Before, no, they're just, it's so different. I think it's for the better too.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Filipino culture
Hmm.
is very much a matriarch culture, right? Where it's women are the top of the culture, if you will.
Patriarch.
Patriarch.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh-huh. And so to go to Saudi Arabia from this culture of family and like collectivists
Hmm.
to being on your own
Hmm.
in Saudi, that must have been a huge culture shock.
It's a huge culture shock, but again, I'm really grateful
Yeah.
because I learned to be independent. Um, I made bad decisions, but I'm still kind of like trying to correct all of it.
Yeah.
But I'm just proud of myself because I was able to decide on my own and be independent the whole time.
See, and that's huge, right? Because like I remember when I grew up, I wasn't able to be independent until
Hmm.
after I joined the military,
See.
right? And it wasn't until then where like I thought I was going to be stuck living in my dad's couch for the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I can attest, like, that is like when you go out on your own into a different country, because I was stationed in Germany.
Hmm.
So when I was in a different culture and you're forced to sort of change your ways to
Hmm.
sort of adapt and
Hmm.
thrive, it actually was like the building block of my ability to
Yeah,
be aware and a
yeah,
part of communities everywhere.
yeah, yeah. It's, of course, at first you'll struggle, but of course I have some, my friends, my coworkers that are there, kind of like having the same experience also. So it's kind of like fun for us.
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking of like, oh, we have to save or something like that, because we're all like teenagers, or we're like, yeah, we're a little younger.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, I just want to buy shoes. I just want to buy watch.
I love it.
Those things like that. And
Yeah.
there's no there's no internet yet,
Yeah.
even phones. You have to collect, the phone booth
Yeah.
outside. Yeah, and it's so expensive too. The mail also, it's like 30 days before they reach the Philippines. So
Okay. 30 days?
yeah, maybe
Oh my
more, maybe
goodness.
more. Yeah, so sometimes I think the most famous means of communication before is like, calling, or just like doing voice tape, like the cassette recorder. You have to record your voice and kind of like
Oh,
and
fascinating.
then send it. So it's like 30 days late, or like maybe 1.5 months late
Yeah.
before they reach it. So it's kind of like delayed already. So it's not the current situation that you are in, but at least it worked. I've lived and worked in Saudi Arabia for almost 10 years, on and off though, because I just wanted to go home. Sometimes when you miss the Philippines, you miss your parents, your family. I just decided, like, I'm gonna go home. So it's basically more of my decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, of course, you have a contract, and of course, you kind of like just think that it's gonna be expensive or something like that. But I was like, the most important thing is my feelings
Yeah.
and my mental state. So I just go home and be with my family, and then later on, if I decide to, like, I probably need to go back or do something again, and then yeah,
Sign another contract and
sign
go
another
back.
contract. Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And then what prompted the choice to move over here?
So after when my father died in 2002,
I'm so sorry.
no,
Yeah.
it happened. So
Mhm.
2002, I decided to just stay in the Philippines. So I worked there for a few years and stuff, and then um, my coworker actually encouraged me to sign up for, like, just like Facebook now, social media.
Yeah.
So I signed up for that social media. It's a local social media kind of thing. It's just in the Philippines. Um, and someone from the US saw my picture, and there's a lot of, that contacted me,
Yeah.
but she's the one who's very persistent. She actually is the first one to call me, like, via long distance call. So, and then we talk and talk and talk, and then after a while, she decided to go back to the Philippines to visit, and that's where we first met. And then I thought we were just friends, and then all of a sudden, something was developed, and then
That's beautiful.
after that, when she went back to the U.S., she asked me if I would like to come over here. And forward, we have two kids. Of course, we're not together anymore, but of course, I'm really grateful that she gave me an opportunity to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And what point did you start singing again?
Oh, actually, when we were like together, so there's karaoke everywhere, like
Yeah.
especially in Filipino party.
Yeah.
So my brother-in-law, her brother, my ex's brother, kind of like, hey, do you wanna sing? Do you wanna put your song in a karaoke? I was like, yeah, okay. And then I sing, and then they were like, oh, you have a good voice or something like that. And then one of their friend actually, who also already passed away, so Rudy Caraos,
Yeah.
and my brother-in-law's name is Mark Santos, and Rudy Caraos was like, you know what, boy, you can sing. Just maybe a little bit of training here and there, gonna be good. and then that's where I started. I we went to One time we went to Seattle for like a just a visit, and there's like a Filipino supermarket there.
Yeah.
It's just like doing their grand opening, and they have a singing contest, and
I love it.
they signed me up. They signed me up.
Did
My
they tell
brother-in-law.
you?
Well, yeah, it's because they signed me up. We were like walking, and then they signed me up, and then of course it's like an elimination. So during that week we went there, that we were there, I signed up, and I was part of the elimination round, and I won. And then they said that you have to come back to the during the grand finals, and then there's like, oh my god, 20, almost 30
Yeah.
Filipino contestants, and they're all good. But since it's karaoke, they kind of like base it with your voice and your scores in like the karaoke system. So it was a tough competition because there's a lot of people who have really good voice and they know how to kind of like do the trick in karaoke.
Yeah.
They can get a high score on that one. But I'm just really grateful to him because I was like, I'm not expecting. I was just like
Yeah.
participating. But there's like five tiebreakers because every time we sing together, we always have the same score. But there's one song that we both doesn't know. We both didn't know, and I was able to go on top of him. I got 98, and I think he got like 95 or something like that.
Wow.
So, and that's why I was like proclaimed the champion, and that's where all it basically started. My singing career here in the U.S. Yeah.
Do you remember what song it was?
Oh, what I did is, can you feel the love tonight?
Oh. What a curveball to throw you too.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
Yeah.
no, actually, I don't remember the title of the song.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I just follow whatever is the
Yeah.
there's like a guide. I just followed it and kind of like doesn't stop. It's just kind of like just following the music and just continue. And I think it has something to do with my breathing technique also,
Yeah.
because I know if you stop, your score will go down. So I just maintain it. It's just like maintain. I started at like 97 and then go to 98 and then I just maintain it. Just
Okay.
it's just like just following the guide without stopping, half breath until the end. So yeah.
And then what happened after you won that competition?
So I've been going back and forth to Seattle to do like little shows,
Yeah.
and but it eventually stopped because of what some of the producers stopped doing it too, and then that's where I kind of like concentrated here in Portland. There's like a old Filipino band. It's called Pinoy Friends.
Hmm.
So it's mostly seniors. I would not really senior citizens, but older generation than me. I'm the youngest basically, and they let me sing few songs every time they have like performances and stuff. And then again after that it stopped. They didn't do it anymore. And then one time there's an event and there's a concert actually at the Filipino American community
Yeah.
here, and I was invited to be a guest, just sing like one song, two songs, and then it's Fred Asa. He used to be the president of the Filipino American community here in
Okay.
Oregon, and then he requested me to sing just like one or two songs, and then that's what I did. I performed one song, and then after that concert, he called me the next day. Excuse me, and he was like, "Hey Louis, there's a lot of people requesting you to have your own show." And I was like, "For real?" And he said yes. He just said yes. So can you do it probably in the next 3 months or so? And so I did that. That was 2015. And it was it was it's back. It's like Full House.
Yeah.
And then next year I did two shows, one in November and one in like summertime. It's also Full House. And then it continues like for the next 3 years I always do two shows in
Yeah.
1 year. And then of course I stopped. I only did one every year, one every year, because it's too tiring.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of work. When you have kids, you have work. Yeah, it's like it's draining me. So, and then it's a good story to tell,
Yeah.
because in the Filipino community, it's kind of difficult to kind of like basically penetrate. I mean, it's not mainstream, but you know
Yeah.
how it is, to get their support. You should have a good relationship with them, like supporters, I would say,
Yeah.
because if
Is it
no,
kind of competitive?
it's kind of competitive in a way that singing is kind of like a it's kind of like Olympics in the Philippines, where
Okay.
where it's always like a very. I mean, singers in the Philippines always set a high bar, like kind of like, how would I say that, technically, and the voices also. Filipinos are really good at singing, and
Yeah.
I would say I'm just so lucky that I was given a chance to sing here in the U.S. I don't have a lot of competitors, but before I did that, before I you know I became who I am today. It's because I've been, how would I say, really friendly, just um, just developing, just building relationship
Yeah.
with all, I would say, with mostly all the Filipinos here and different nationality, because I believe that if you don't do that, even if you have the talent, if there's nobody supporting you, then you're just gonna be stuck somewhere. Yeah,
And so, how do you get your name out there?
it's through friends all.
Yeah.
um I have a manager. I mean, before I'm just doing it by myself
Yeah.
and with my friends, kind of like helping me. But when I had my friend Lorelai, who I call my manager also, because before I do everything or before I decide on something, I always consult her. Yeah, Lorelai Osmilio. So she kind of helped me, like, how would I say that, like, give me a path
Yeah.
to what to do, what to not to do on in my career. If I can, I don't still consider it as a career, but she keeps telling me that always believe in yourself, and make it as your career, because that's where you're at now. So it's her. Yeah, and then of course, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah, for mostly for the Asian community. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that famous yet when it comes to like the Asian community, but it doesn't really matter to me as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm, gaining more networks every day. It's totally fine.
I
Yeah.
feel you on that way. I feel that way about this podcast, right? I would
Hmm.
love if a million people would listen.
Hmm.
Hopefully I'll get there someday, but I
You
don't really care.
No,
This is a
exactly.
passion project and I get
Hmm.
to talk to people like you
Hmm.
and that
Yeah.
fills my cup.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the most important thing is you're happy with whatever you're
Mhm.
doing, and that's basically what happened to me before. I mean, until now, I'm still happy with singing,
Yeah.
but sometimes it gets to my nerves, and it's just kind of like draining my energy. Um, because I think of the other things that I do aside from like singing. So I just want to keep quiet. I don't want any like drama. I don't want any noise in my head.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It would, and it's so. How did you start to do those covers on YouTube? Do you still do those?
Um, Again, I told you, if I'm like overwhelmed, I stop. I just kind of like
Yeah.
shut down. So right now I don't do. I even my own podcast too. In every Friday, I kind of like, just rest for a little bit, and then when I'm like recovered and stuff, then I will go back to it. Yeah, it's Sean. It's it's tough to be
I
like
know.
maintaining your 9 to 5 job and
Yeah.
doing the stuff, and then when you get home, I mean, in the Philippines it's okay because you can get household help.
Yeah.
Here you have to do it on your by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. So
It,
it's so difficult, and I'm just so happy that I was given a chance to like share my talent, basically, do some songwriting. Yeah, just do the things that I would like to do. I was given a chance, and I was supported by the Filipino community, and I'm wherever I go, whatever happens to me, I will always be grateful to everybody. I mean, you also for
yeah.
giving me a chance to
Hmm.
be interviewed today. So yeah, and I just wanted to be like share to everyone that as long as you're happy with it, whatever you're doing, just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a very important thing, right? Because like I too have a day job.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like when you get to the end of that day job, you're just exhausted and you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to just, so I get that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, ugh, do I really have enough bandwidth today?
Yeah. But thank you for making it today, though.
Of course. And
Yeah.
today wasn't one of those days.
Oh,
So
good. That's good.
yeah.
That's good.
Uh-huh. But those days do happen, right?
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
like when you have those days that are those frustrating, like I just need a break.
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, 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 yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of lay down and watch Netflix and then, yeah,
Yeah.
go to bed.
And you bring up an interesting point because like I remember when I was growing up, we still had that sort of sense of community,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, is one of the strangest experiences in my life was living in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in the same house for like 11 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I only knew one of my neighbors.
Really?
Yeah. The rest of my neighbors didn't care to get involved. They all were sort of in their own world.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss that sort of sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to think that that might not be isolated just to Seattle. I think that might be a United States thing.
Yeah, yeah. So we, I mean, we're from the Philippines. We're Filipinos. We're Asians technically,
Yeah.
and we always have, because that sense of community, because we grew up in like little communities back home too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just for example, for myself, growing up, I know everybody in our community, and everybody knows everybody in their community, just like what Mikong's Bistro is all
Yeah.
about. Is like go to a place where they know your name or something like that. So that's like sense of community. And here also, we have this Filipino community. Although it's kind of like scattered here in Oregon compared to like LA or California, where they have like a Bay Area. They have like lots of like Filipinos over there in a certain area. Here it's kind of like scattered, but again, it's kind of a working in progress.
Yeah.
That if you want to be someone that is recognized, or or like to have your name out, you just have to do some effort, like extra effort to know your community. Of course, you have to start from your own community, and then
Yeah.
if if there's time, then you can always branch out to something else, like different community. And that's what exactly I'm doing. And of course, I would like to, of course, acknowledge the help of course, my brother Ron, my the other Bolero owner. This is another bar down
Yeah.
down below. And yeah, some of like the customers of Mikong Bistro also. Yeah.
And I appreciate that too. So one of the things that I have experienced in my life,
Hmm.
right? I have never, and I can reiterate this, I have never been to an event
Hmm.
led by a Filipino where I did not feel welcome and loved, regardless of who you are.
Oh my God! Thank you.
It's one of those cultures where like if you're here, you're a part of the
Yeah, part of the
family. We
family.
welcome you
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
and that's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
I think it's common in the Asian. I mean, maybe in
Yeah,
different nationality also. It's just we have different ways of welcoming our guests, but I think ours, like Asian community in general, is like you will feel welcome right away. Like
yeah.
as the moment you step in, you know, they're like, "Hey, come on in," yeah, something like that. So you'll feel like at home. And I think being invited in an event, feeling at home is the most important thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I've been in events where it's the exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
Where you go and everybody's looking at you like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is he here? We don't
Mm-hmm.
want you here.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And so when you get to experience the other side, it's just pure
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
bliss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have another event on March 15 here, so you better show up.
You got it.
Yeah, being at home here at Mikong Bistro is always like a great thing. I mean, you have everything here: the
Yeah.
stage, the sound system, the place, great parking also. So yeah.
So, do you have any tips or tricks for people who are interested in getting into singing?
Well, I to tell you honestly, I'm not technically, how would I say that? Because people there's a lot of people who are singing who took voice lessons,
Right.
and they have a coach, they have a voice coach, they even have like a stage coach, like someone who's like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, and they have trainings. I don't have.
Right. However, and the
Mhm,
reason I ask this question is because most of the people that listen to my podcast
mhm,
can't afford those trainers,
mhm,
and they can't afford or don't have access to those coaches.
mhm,
So I'm curious, like, what your process was as you've learned,
mhm.
because you've mastered whatever it is you've learned along the way.
Thank you.
Like, your control is out of this world.
Thank you.
So I guess let me rephrase it this way: like, what's the best approach? Is it just to like keep practicing, or just sort of find, like, how did you find your range?
So there's a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like I usually, if I like, for example, if I like a certain song, I will listen to it. I will listen to a lot of covers also to kind of like combine. And so when I need to sing it somewhere else, I have to combine all the things that I kind of like. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. And also, yeah, you just have to keep on practicing. You record your voice
Yeah.
and listen to it afterwards and kind of like compare it to the original. I was like, where am I missing? Why I cannot feel the same soul as the original singer? So you have to double check. You have to like keep on like practicing, keep on singing by yourself. Bathroom is a good
Yeah.
a
Right.
good
a
place
hundred
to sing.
percent. Uh-huh.
And then I think, yeah, I think recording your voice and kind of like listening to it just to make sure that just to check if there's something wrong with it, because, and also I think the most important thing is how to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't know how to do that properly, you either ended up like having flat sharp or kind of those kind of stuff. And even if I'm not 100% also with my voice, especially the weather here in the US,
Yeah.
especially here in Oregon, I kind of like just learn a technique that before doing a performance or something like that, just do the basic exercise like something like that. So
Okay.
it's basically you can tailor it to your to fit yourself, because voice exercises, it depends on how you do it. It really there's not really like a one size fits all voice exercise that can help you, but at least you know yourself better, you know what you need to do. And I think confidence too, and I don't have that most of the time.
But you can't tell when you're on stage. You can't tell.
They say that they
Yeah.
like, you're a different person when you're on stage. I was like, you know what, you know why I'm doing that is because I just want to get over it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I get nervous all the time. I get nervous all the time, but I think it's part of life.
I
you know.
couldn't agree more, right?
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that you can listen to yourself. And I say that because, like, I hate the sound of my own voice. Like, I just, like, I have a hard time listening back to my own podcast because
Hmm.
it's like, like I take comfort in knowing that my voice sounds different because of what I hear inside of my head.
I'm
Mhm.
like that too.
Yeah.
I'm People say that you have a good voice, but actually when I'm listening to it,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's something wrong. There's something lacking in and this kind of stuff. But again, there's a lot of stuff in YouTube, technology, and just it's just a matter of like really knowing your craft and knowing yourself. What's your weakness and what's your strength, so that you can work it out. Um, like for example, not a lot of people, Filipino especially, are using falsetto.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, not a lot. I mean, especially now,
Yeah.
it's more modern. So in the Philippines, most of the singers does falsetto already
Yeah.
compared to before. Like our generation, not a lot of singers does falsetto. Yeah,
Now, explain to some people who may not know what a falsetto is.
falsetto. I don't know. I'm not even like sure about it. It's just like false voice. So basically, instead of like this is the full voice that we're doing, and then you're basically. I think it's just basically head tone kind of thing,
Yeah,
something like that. So I cannot explain it like the way other professionals can explain it, but I know how to use it
yeah,
because I tried it many times. I kind of like practice also how to transition from false voice to from regular voice to false voice. Like not easy, but if you just practice it, it will become better and better. Yeah.
so most of this the song and the music that previously
Hmm.
had pretty much all sharp notes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed.
Uh, Again, I am not knowledgeable enough when it comes to like
Yeah,
sharp music. I just do my own thing and kind of like I'm learning day by day. Even when I'm like practicing with a band, if they ask me what's your key, I was like
yeah.
I don't know.
I know what you mean.
So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
um, I sometimes I have to like really take note of my especially if there's like a specific song I need to sing, so I need to learn my key because even if you know male voice is so different also they have different like pitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to learn like for example which singers is kind of the same how would I say that pitch as yours, just to.
Especially for like harmonies, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just difficult. I can probably sing it better than explaining it to you.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I'm not that good when it comes to like the terminologies when it comes to singing. I just do my
Mhm.
own thing. Yeah.
But that's what I appreciate about you, right? Is that you're almost like a savant about it,
Yeah.
right? Like you have this talent that a lot of people would kill for, if you will, if I may. It just like I will always be amazed.
Yeah. Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
And so, like, are you going to be in a band or anything like that coming up, or are you going to be a part of the Mekong River Band? Or
No, I am a part of it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, actually, yes. My brother Ron.
yeah,
So but I've been in a band. I have a band. So I'm a solo artist, and then after probably a few years of doing that, I decided to form a band.
yeah,
Our band was called Provenciano, so it's I think 4 or 5 members. Yeah, and that's where I started also writing my own songs. And but because of differences, we kind of
yeah.
like parted ways, which is very common. But I'm still friends with them. So if I have projects, we kind of like still play together. And then after that, I we had the Keys band, and then it's I had a great time with them. It's a like family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their last name is Susie, which means keys.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's why we call them the Keys band. Yeah, we've been together for almost 3 years, and I'm so happy. It's also because I was able to write songs with them too. That they were able to play, and then became solo again. Because my purpose is to write my own songs
Yeah.
and record it, and doesn't really matter if people will like it. It has something to do with your age also.
Yeah.
Times like, oh, I just want to do what makes me happy and what makes me satisfied. So I just kind of like write my songs and no, record it. It's now out on Spotify, all digital music platforms, so you can check it out.
How do you find it? So, like, you just look for Louie Roa.
Louie Roa. It's in YouTube also.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's in
Yep.
YouTube. And the latest single that I had is "Friends to Forever."
Yeah.
I wrote the song while driving to Seattle.
I love it. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
So, and I don't have any formal training when it comes to writing. Just like I had, I don't have any formal training when it
yeah.
comes to singing. But again, just doing the things that you love to do. You don't. really need going to school, or well, at least, there's a lot of guides in YouTube. There's a lot of videos in YouTube that you can check how to write a song, how to, to be able to do those kind of things.
Yes.
So yeah, just be resourceful. Especially me, I don't have a lot of money to fund my singing, so I just improvise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so, and I appreciate that so much because I almost prefer singers who are that way
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
opposed to the ones that have been trained to death, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, I always appreciate it when there's that rawness
Hmm.
and that sort of specialty in a song,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
where it's not, if it's too perfect, I have a problem with it. Like, I need that slight imperfection
Yes, we're
in
human
order for it to
beings.
be beautiful.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
read something about like people um go to performances.
Yeah.
I forgot what it said, but it's I think it's something. It's kind of like the same thing with what you're saying earlier, that it doesn't need to be perfect. Uh, people people needs to feel it.
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with the feelings, not, rather than a perfect performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have seen a few bands where their albums were amazing,
Hmm.
but then you see them in live shows and there's no energy.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like a shame. It's like, oh, if you just put forth that little bit of extra
Hmm.
effort,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you would be like sold out everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just really grateful with I've been doing shows since 2015,
Yeah.
and my last show was like, I wish I have known you before that, so you were able to watch my show last November, over here at the Mikong also. So yeah, since 2015, actually no, yeah, 2015 till last year, so 2024. So how many years is that one?
Public math is not my strong suit.
We're the same. So that's why
Nine
I
years.
ask you.
9 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
9 years.
9 years.
2015, 2024. 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
every year, and always the same people watch my concert, and it's
Yeah.
always, before it's a full house. Now it's always sold out. So the same people. Well, there's also like some new people too,
Yeah.
but the same people that keep supporting me, and I'm just really grateful because I was able to do those kind of things. Who would have thought, me being coming from the island, to be
Yeah.
able to perform here in the U.S. and in Oregon, and so I'm just grateful. Really
And I
grateful.
appreciate that. But it's like, people that are humble and have humility
Hmm.
make the best people, I
Oh
think.
yeah, yeah.
And uh, I feel you on that one. Like, I have to pinch myself every now and then because I feel kind of blessed to be where I'm at in life
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Um, Now, and I had to overcome a lot of challenges to get here,
Hmm.
but I think those challenges that builds that character.
Yeah, yeah,
And then once you're in that position and you can appreciate life when life is going good.
yeah, yeah. That's really
Yeah.
true. That's really true, and it makes you a better person, I guess, and keeps your feet grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I like that fact that you want to, that did, stay grounded.
Hmm.
I think it's one of the most important pieces.
Oh yeah. It. I mean, I've encountered a lot of people that they're just starting, but they're like feeling that they're over the moon already,
Yeah.
and I don't blame them, because it's part of being a human being.
Yeah.
But the good thing about, I think it has something to do with also with how you were raised, and how the people beside you, the people that are you're in contact with every now and then, to be able to maintain that level of like, just keep you grounded all the time. Yeah.
And it's also about being curious,
Hmm.
right? And because you and I were sort of talking before we started about sometimes you encounter people
Hmm.
that cause that level of frustration,
Hmm. Hmm.
and the best thing is always to just, you know what, walk away,
Hmm.
and live to fight another day
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
not worth it.
Yeah, and not worth it. Not worth it. Yeah.
Because you're not going to change that other person. They're going to be the jerk that they were when they came in,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's unprovoked and there's no reason.
Yeah.
Like, then it's like, what are you going to say or what are you going to do? There's really not much you're going to say or do to
Yeah.
change that person.
Especially, oh my God, there are people that they just wanted to hear themselves, that they don't want to
Yeah.
hear you. So no, there's
Hmm.
no sense of like, you know, talking to you or like arguing with you. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's a good place for people to sort of get introduced to the Filipino culture?
Well, Filipino community has a lot of events.
Yeah.
Again, if you're like a musician that wanted to, put your name out there, you just have to basically reach out to the right people. I mean, of course, sometimes you cannot have the right people,
Yeah.
but at least if you really wanted to, of course, there's gonna be frustrations and stuff, but just keep doing whatever you wanted to do. Like reach out to the Asian community, reach out to the American community.
Yeah.
Um, then you can start from there.
And look online and see if you see an event
Yeah.
that celebrates that culture.
Hmm.
Go celebrate that
Yeah,
culture.
yeah, yeah. And it's also good that, I mean, if you want to be out there with different communities, try to
Yeah.
kind of learn a little of their language.
Learn a little bit about their
The
customs, learn a
customs,
little bit
yeah,
about their language, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
and always just be a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Yeah, and it's I'm just so happy that I get to meet different people,
Yeah.
and who has kind of like the same passion as I have, like singing and just networking. And again, there's always going to be a challenge, but who cares?
Yeah. Hmm.
Wherever you go, it's like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk about too is because I want people to sort of understand uh, this country was built on people
Hmm.
coming from other countries.
Yeah.
And so, this narrative out there about what it means for a person coming to this country,
Hmm.
I want to say that screw them. Like, we need to embrace people coming to this
That's
country
correct. That's correct.
because this country would not be as amazing as it is
Without those
if
people.
we didn't have people in this country. And I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
understand how people can't make that connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it has something to do with the way they were raised too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the
Ignorance.
environment too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been at it for almost an hour.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's a nice conversation we have, I thought.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think especially with this kind of thing, it always goes faster,
Yes.
quicker.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a warm and wonderful conversation too.
Yeah.
So I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And before we go, I just want to say hi to my wife. Yeah, that's the song that my latest single, which is
Yeah.
Friends to Forever. That's the song that I wrote for my wife.
Congrats. Awesome.
Yeah, so we started as friends, and
Yeah.
then friends to love, friends to forever, because friends, and then we got married. Yeah,
That's
so that,
beautiful.
yeah, so it's out in Spotify. Check it out.
So have you had a chance to perform that for her on stage?
Not yet.
Ah.
Actually, yes. Actually, last month in a
Ha.
in a Filipino event, I was able to sing it. Yeah.
I'm so glad she had that experience.
Yeah, well, it's. I mean, yeah, we have a video of it, so he's kind of listen to it. I listen to it all the time too because it's kind of like a soothing. It has a soothing melody.
Yeah.
Really good when you're on a long trip or just resting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Very relaxed and chill.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
appreciate that.
acoustic too, so yeah.
Well, Louie, thank you so much.
Thank you,
It
Sean.
has been a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Thank you.
And if people want to check out your music, go out to YouTube, go to Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
Louie Roa, and that's ROA.
ROI, yes, and
Yep.
it's Louie, Louie, because it's not Luis. Okay,
Yep. Yes.
Louie. Yeah.
Thank you, Louie.
Thank you so much, Sean. Take care.